So you might be thinking, I'm standing in front of you and there is a photograph of a Burmese python. What is it doing? A sudden journey started in my life and I did not know where this particular snake was taking me towards. Right from childhood, I was very much interested towards the world of nature, and I was obsessed with snakes, and I'm still obsessed with snakes. I used to go to zoo, and the only thing that I used to, always I was running after to look was these amazing creatures. And python was one of my favorite animal. So it so happened in it was somewhere in 2016, I met my mentor, Dr. Jayaditya Purkayastha. He is one of the renowned scientists and herpetologist. He's working on this field of reptiles and amphibians. I met him and I started working as a snake rescuer. Then I got into conservation, and then I started, little bit I got into this research field. And one fine day, I rescued a python. I walked up to a nearby wetland and I was about to release it. In one hand, I was holding the python gently and I was about to release it in the wetland, and in one hand, I was holding a camera so that I can get a good picture of it. As soon as the python touched the water, suddenly out of nowhere, there was a green flowing mat that came and it covered the python and the python disappeared. That's when an enmity started from my side towards that green floating vegetation, and I learned that it was water hyacinth, an invasive aquatic plant species which is damaging the wetland ecosystem of India. So let me tell you, water hyacinth has a very beautiful and very romantic story how it came to India, because it is not an indigenous species of India. Today, we'll be talking about innovating with nature. I'll talk about paper, conservation, and a little bit of power of design thinking. So now, as soon as I got to know about water hyacinth, and it is invasive, the fibrous nature of water hyacinth was something which I was very much interested about. I learned that water hyacinth, it is full of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. And as soon as I started studying a little bit of its chemical components, I understood that this particular plant can be used as an alternative to make paper. Then I thought, when the Chinese 105 CE, almost 2000 years ago, if they can make paper, why can't we do the same? That's how my journey started. I started making paper from water hyacinth. Initially, I learned how not to make a paper, because I did not know how to make paper. It all started from scratch. No idea. I took water hyacinth, converted it into pulp, then tried making paper, trial and error method, and finally, I succeeded and made paper out of water hyacinth. So with this comes this concept, innovating innovations. Innovation doesn't mean that you have to always make something new. It can also mean the other way. You take an existing product, which in my case was paper. What I did, I took paper and tried to add a little bit of innovation by choosing a sustainable alternative, a raw material, and made something new out of it. These are some of the plant species from India. And all of 4 of them are invasive plant species, means they have not originated from India. They come from other, like some way or the other, they came to India. Now, I was talking about the romantic story of water hyacinth, how water hyacinth came in India. 18th century, Lord Warren Hastings, the Governor General of Calcutta, then brought water hyacinth because the flower was very beautiful, and he wanted to impress his wife. He did not know that he was bringing an invasive aquatic plant species, and that's why from Bengal it spread throughout India, and that's why the other name of water hyacinth is Terror of Bengal. You see, that's how. Why am I talking about all these other plant species? Like, there are more than 50 different plant species which are invasive. In every state, there is lantana, there is mimosa, they are creating a lot of problem in the grassland ecosystem. So now, in India, we have a word which is jugaad. Is not it? We often use this word jugaad. Jugaad means being resourceful. And one of the most important component, if you see, of design thinking is jugaad thinking. What did I do? I did a simple jugaad. I had to make paper, right? But only thing my planning was not to cut down tree and make paper. My planning was to get an alternative and make paper out of it. Simple jugaad thinking. Why did I choose other alternative to make paper? Because we all know, we have all studied, we need to cut down trees, and each tree almost take around 3 to 10 years to get matured. So now, can you imagine just 1 ton of paper, printing paper, something like this, these sort of papers all together piled up 1 ton will be, for that you need to cut more than 25 trees. 25 trees we have to kill. And not only that, along with the trees, all the paper and pulp industries have been contributing a lot of pollution. A lot of pollution, like they throw out the lignin extract, they will throw out the bleach, they will throw out a lot more other chemicals back in the river system or in the soil. So that is also creating pollution. Not only that, you won't believe, I'll tell you a simple concept of a few countries, how the paper and pulp industry is almost consuming 10% fresh from its freshwater lakes or whatever fresh water is available in the country. 10% goes to manufacturing the paper, and these are all consumed by the paper and pulp industry people. So that's how there is a lot of water consumption as well. So now I'll show you. I was talking about water hyacinth, right? You see this? This in Sanskrit is known as Jalkumbhi. Right? And that's why initially somebody mentioned the name of the company. That's why the company says Kumbhi, and Kagaj means paper. So this is what we are using. When this particular plant, you see, when it grows up, it dries up and becomes such sort of strands. Now we take this, and you see there is, and this is the extract. This is basically the pulp, the dried form. You see this video? That's how it looks like when it becomes pulp. And after that, what do? We make paper and create some product out of it so that it can get into the market and become a sustainable alternative to the paper that is available now, the regular paper. This, how many of you guys had idea about this? 1 sheet of paper consumes 20 liters of water, 1 sheet. But will you believe, can someone give me a guess how much we use this, like how much water this paper consumed? Somewhat around 2 liters. So see, is there any difference? Can I get a volunteer quickly with a fountain pen? There is a pen, quickly. You just write it down and tell me a simple, is there any difference in the writing texture? Is it same?
Yes.
Is it same? Yes. See, it's same. The only difference is, thank you so much, brother. The only difference is the color. So we definitely have alternatives available. We don't have to cut trees or make it, like white always. Or maybe we can go for some alternative resources, alternative, we can also recycle old paper, which is already going on though. Why is paper important? From good morning to good night, every single day you wake up and you go to sleep. What do you see? You see paper everywhere. We wake up, we see the calendar, it is made out of paper. We want to have cereal in the breakfast or maybe pickle on the breakfast. The label or the cereal box is made out of paper. And most importantly, all of you guys, someone or the other, we are having our purse, or maybe we are having wallet, and what are we carrying? Cash. What is it made of? Paper. So such an important part of our life, and for the last 15 years, what are we telling? We will go paperless. But if you see the industry standards and statistics, you will see every year the demand for paper is increasing. Along with that, wetlands are disappearing 3 times faster than forests. Most of us, when we talk about paper, we talk about, like, this is a general concept. We talk about deforestation, right? About cutting down trees. We always forget that there are, along with the forest, there is wetlands as well. And wetlands are disappearing 3 times faster than forest. Now you see, we have wetland one side, forest on the other side. Now we need to conserve them. Wetland has its own problem, forest has its own problem. And we have invasive plant species in both the areas. Why don't we stop cutting down trees and utilize these plant species which grow very fast and destroy the ecosystem and convert it into paper? Now, as this is a brown paper, I'll talk a simple about mind change and a simple about how people think. When I showed this paper first time to my parents, because they have always been a very good critic for me and has always helped me to develop my products. So I showed this paper to my father. You know what he said? He called it an ugly piece of sheet. And that time I realized I need to do something. I need to bring something out of it. And what I started making all these sort of different sort of products. Why I wanted to test it? Because market testing begins at home. If I can understand the utility of the product, only then can I bring it to the market and we can actually alter all this. So these are few of the products you see over there. I tried making what? A notebook. This can become the alternative. There is Rakhi. We made Rakhi out of water hyacinth. And not only that, this dhoop that we see, incense cone, this is also made out of water hyacinth, where we don't have to add any charcoal or anything, because India out here, we light up incense stick and cones a lot. Why did we make Rakhi? Because this is something which I was always thinking about. Rakhi is something we celebrate throughout India, and the problem you see, all the Rakhis have plastic beads on it. And that's a big problem, because after 2 days, we'll throw it. And that creates pollution. Now you see, paper making is a simple art form, but an ancient art form. You see, whenever we are making, you keep everything aside. Starting from writing down scriptures, or the best way to memorize things is writing down. So even from ancient time, there is one or the way alternative. But people, we get bored soon. We get bored of things very easily. So that's why from wooden bark to palm leaves, everything's were changing, because change is the only constant. But along with that, we also have to keep evolving and transforming our materials for a better and sustainable future. Thank you so much.